Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Rocketmen. Rocketmen is brought to you by Phalanx Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and games range anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes. Immerse yourself in a fast-paced race to the final frontier. In this deck builder, you'll be making swift decisions and tactical choices. Rocketmen gives you the feel of taking a front seat as you explore the vastness of space. It's up to your predictive abilities and resource management skills to determine what kind of endeavor would be most suitable for paving the way to Earth's celestial neighbors. It doesn't matter whether it would be a low Earth orbit satellite or a manned base destined for the Red Planet. Plan your mission carefully, equip your shuttles and rockets wisely, yet do not hesitate when your gut instinct tells you when it's time to launch. So Rocketmen has 2 main variants. You have the regular game, and you have a simplified version called the Battle for Earth. And really the difference here is just in game setup and length. There's also a solo variant, so it's some interesting things to keep in mind. Now, the main thing that you're doing in this game is going for victory points by exploring space. You're exploring 3 different destinations. You have Earth orbit, you have the moon, and of course Mars. So in general, we're looking at the regular game setup. There's also game variants. There's several to choose from, and if you choose to play with those, you'll place them at the top of the board. They do all kinds of different rule changes and adding to the game. But in general, the setup here is that you've got a couple different tokens and cards that you're going to be setting up. It is a deck builder. So you're going to be placing the Luna token, the Mars token, you've got your mission success cards, you've got your asset cards with hazards in there. And there's 2 different sets. You've got a teal and you've got a pink set, and there's setup for these cards specifically. And then you have your engine cards, and each player gets their player board along with their 12 cards to start. Again, a deck builder. You're going to be shuffling those up and drawing 6. Now, each player also gets 2 cards that are secret objective cards that you're trying to achieve throughout the game. And of course, their various tokens. Now, before we take a closer look at gameplay, let's take a look at these mission cards. These are the 12 cards you're going to start with. Now, during the course of the game, you're only ever going to be able to fulfill 6 of these missions, so choose your missions wisely. And you can't send the same type of mission to the same destination twice. Now, on each mission card, there's information here of where you can send this particular type of mission. In this case, for a manned spaceship, we can go to Earth orbit, we can go to the moon, or we can go to Mars. And what's important about that information is that it shows how many rocket points it takes to launch this mission for each of those locations, and how many mission success cards you can draw in order to help you complete this mission as well. Then there's the symbol on the card, which corresponds to the symbols on the board. And at the bottom right of the card is information about ongoing benefits once you complete this mission. So on your turn, you have 4 possible actions you can perform, and you can do as many of these as you want and in any order as you so choose, as long as you have cards and resources to do them. So the first one we're going to take a look at is buying a card from the display, because it is a deck builder after all. So in order to buy any of these cards from the display, you're going to be spending cards from your hand. You're looking at the icon in the top left corner will dictate what that card will give you, either credits or different symbols. Some of the cards you're going to be purchasing are going to require that you spend credits and a scientific symbol, so you'll have to have those resources available. In order to spend those cards, you're going to put them in your holding area and then acquire the card that you're after. Now, there's hazard cards out here as well. And really, they just dirty up your hand, but at the end of the game, they're going to give you victory points, so they are still worthwhile having. And then there's the engine cards. The engine cards, you can only ever purchase 1 per turn. And so any card that you acquire will go also into your holding area. Really, these cards are just here. They're prepping them in order to move to your discard pile for later use. Now, there's some additional uses for this holding area, but we'll get to that in a minute. Next, you can be playing cards to your mission site or to your launch pad. And generally, you want to be playing to the launch pad after you've placed a card in the mission site. But for all these cards, placing it in the site or in the launch pad is going to cost you 10 credits per card. Now, one of the nice things about these cards in general is that you can have the cost already on the card when you place it. For like this space hotel, it actually has 10 credits associated with it in the resource area. So that would be the cost paid to put it in the mission site. Now, if it doesn't have that, then you have to place cards in the holding area to pay that cost. And then every card you place in the launch pad, again, has to be paid for. And why are you placing these cards in the launch pad? Well, you need rocket points. So in the case of the space hotel, we're going to Luna, or the moon, and it's going to require 7 rocket points in order to do so. That's just to get it off the launch pad. So you need enough rocket symbols in the launch pad area in order to start this mission. And it's important to note that you don't actually have to pick your destination until you launch the rocket. So you might have 1 or 2 or 3 options, and depending on how many cards you get into that launch area will determine, maybe I want to launch sooner and just go into Earth orbit, or I'm going to hold out and go for Mars. So there's some choice to be made here, and hopefully you have the cards in order to pay for it. Now, the other way to pay for cards or achieve rocket points might be through tokens that you've acquired on other completed missions. If you do have these tokens at the top of your player board, then you flip them over if you choose to use them for this particular mission. Now, another type of card you might be playing into the launch pad area will be scientific symbols. So depending on where you're going to head your spacecraft towards will determine what type of scientific symbol you're going to play. In the case of the moon, we have the beaker, and that will give us 1 extra movement along the track towards the moon. But that would be a reason you would place that resource in the launch pad area. And there's other asset cards that say launch pad. So if you place those into the launch pad area, you get to use those actions that are available on those types of cards. And then we're going to launch a mission, assuming you have the rocket points available to do so. So that's the first thing to check for your mission card, if you can actually go to the destination you want to go. You're going to pick that destination and place one of your tokens on either Terra, on Luna, or Mars. And then you're going to start the process of the launch. And the first thing you're going to do is look for the scientific symbol of the destination you've chosen. If we're going to Luna, for every beaker symbol that we have in our launch pad area, then we get to move the rocket token along the path those many spots. Next, take a look at your mission card and see how many mission success cards you need to draw in order to finish your mission to the moon in this case. You're going to shuffle that deck and you're going to start drawing cards. Now, you have some choices to be made along the way here. If you choose to bail and stop the mission after the first draw, then you lose nothing. But for each draw after that, you're going to start losing cards. But if you go all the way through all the mission success cards that you are allowed to draw and you don't make it to your destination, then you're going to completely lose all the cards in your launch pad. And so you're going to have to push your luck to some degree, and hopefully you make it to your destination. So once you've completed your mission and made it to your destination, you'll move your token to the completed mission area. Now, if you're the first one to complete that type of mission, you'll get bonus victory points. But if you're also the first one to reach Luna or Mars, there's additional victory points that you'll take from the token on those spots, which will be calculated at the end of the game. Then take a look at your mission card. At the bottom right corner, like we talked about earlier, is an ongoing effect. Since you completed this mission, you'll grab a token from your token supply, and you might get things like additional rocket points or credits or scientific symbols, but you'll place that token in the top of your player board. Or you might just be simply discarding cards. Maybe you're going to take advantage of one of the actions to perform on the bottom of one of those cards. Or you might just be getting rid of one of these hazard cards that you're holding until the end of the game. Or perhaps you might just be getting rid of this entire mission because you don't think you can pull it off. So you'll move all those cards to the holding area, and then at the end of your turn, you're going to take all the holding cards, put them into your discard pile. And of course, if you have any tokens or any other things you need to reset for your player board, you'll flip those back over to their active side so they're ready for your next turn. So you'll play this way round after round until one of three things happens. Either you've reached the victory point total based on the player count, or each of the 12 missions has at least one mission token there, or the player that has placed their 5th or 6th mission token and has one in each of the different celestial locations Terra, Luna, and Mars, they can also trigger the game end, and the player with the most victory points is going to win. Alright folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now with that said, I have to say that the thematic nature of this game, oh man, it really comes through. It is truly a race for space. Some pretty interesting deck building mechanics here as well. I really like how the missions work and how with the player boards, how you interact with the launch pad, getting everything you need to be successful for that particular mission. But ultimately folks, if this looks like a game that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando, in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.